Welcome back to Adventures of a Black Belt Sommelier. I was lucky last night to attend a tasting of the wines of Casanova di Neri in Tuscany, and one of them really stood out. I thought I would share with you. It's I have a personal kind of connection to this winery because during the worst parts of COVID in 2019, 2020, I conducted a series of Zoom wine tastings with winemakers around the world. One of them was with John Lorenzo Neri from Casanova di Neri. Um, he usually with European winemakers, I would record them in the morning, our time, and which would be afternoon their time. But John Lorenzo told me he would rather join us in person. So I'm not sure if he got up at 2:30 in the morning or he was still up at 2:30 in the morning. He was 27 years old, so I suspect that he was still up. But anyway, I asked him what it was like when they found out that they won the Wine Spectator Wine of the Year in 2006 for their 2001 Brunello di Montalcino Tenuta Nuova. And he said, "Well, we had no warning. Just one morning in November, the phone started ringing, and the first caller said, 'Have you heard? Have you heard? Have you heard?'" And we didn't know what they were talking about. And then we found out. We were excited. We hung up the phone. The phone rang. We hung up the phone. The phone rang. We hung up the phone rang. There was nobody to deal with this. It was just my mother and father and me, my sister. My grandfather was in the United States on a trip promoting our wines. We didn't have anybody to answer the phone, which rang pretty much every time we hung up the phone. It rang again for weeks, and it was really overwhelming. My grandfather came home immediately, canceled the rest of his trip, came home, and I asked him what they did to celebrate. He would have been about 10 years old at the time. He said we opened a Magnum of 1947 Chateau L'Angelus. So a pretty special wine. It's funny how often 1947 comes up in these conversations. But anyway, last night at this tasting, I tasted the 2018 Brunello di Montalcino from Casanova di Neri, the Tenuta Nuova bottling. It's an extraordinary wine. It's it is everything you want in Brunello di Montalcino. It's rich, it's textured, it's powerful, it's long, it's uh, intense. It's got beautiful balanced acidity and salinity and minerality. It's a long life ahead. It was delightful last night, but it is really young. It benefit from, I don't know, probably start showing its best in about 10 years in a cool wine cellar. Although, you could open it, if you opened it today and served it tomorrow, it'd be really, really great. If I were going to open a bottle tonight and drink it, I would probably open it. I might open it a day ahead and decant it 4 hours ahead or something like that. And I think it would be extraordinary. Um, it's a wonderful wine. The Wine Advocate rates it 95 points. I think that's conservative. It's really quite an accomplishment in a vintage like 2018. So it's worth looking for. Uh, it's around. You can find it. If you find it, you should buy some because it's an extraordinary wine. Um, you can Google beefsteak Maremma style, a recipe by Lydia Bastianich, the great chef, restaurant owner in New York City. Um, it's a simple dish, but it's sensational, and it's the perfect dish to have with this wine. Lydia Bastianich is beefsteak Maremma style. Um, so look for the 2018 Casanova di Neri Brunello di Montalcino Tenuta Nuova. You'll be glad if you buy a case or two or a bottle or 5 bottles, whatever you buy. You'll be very glad to have this in your wine cellar. It's very, very special wine. Thanks for tuning in to Adventures of a Black Belt Sommelier. We, as always, appreciate your time and attention.